You have a baby. You have read 17 books about it. You have a monitor, a schedule, a white noise machine, a specific swaddle technique, a pediatrician on speed dial, and you are still convinced you are doing it wrong. You have not slept properly in weeks. You feel guilty when you put the baby down, and guilty when you pick him up too quickly. You feel guilty about the feeding, and the napping, and the screen time, and approximately everything else. And even if you have never had children, you have almost certainly watched someone you love disappear into the exhaustion of raising one. And here's the thing nobody says out loud. It was not supposed to be like this. Not because modern parents are doing it wrong, but because modern parents are doing alone something that the human species spent 300,000 years doing together. And the moment you understand what ancient humans actually did, the weight of modern parenting stops feeling like a personal failure. It starts feeling like a structural problem that nobody warned you about. Human babies are bizarre. Compared to almost every other mammal on Earth, they arrive astonishingly unfinished. A baby giraffe drops 2 meters to the ground and walks within an hour. A chimpanzee newborn can grip its mother tightly and hold on immediately after birth. Human babies cannot do any of that. They cannot hold their own head up. They cannot regulate their own body temperature. They cannot do anything at all without someone else doing it for them. Evolutionary biologists even have a name for this. Secondary altriciality. It exists because of a compromise evolution was forced to make. Human brains are enormous. A fully developed human brain at birth would require a skull so large it could not physically pass through the birth canal. Except making the brain smaller was not an option evolution was willing to take. So, it made a different call. It made human babies premature by design. At birth, a human brain is only 25% of its adult size. A chimpanzee's is 45%. The rest of human brain development has to happen outside the womb, while the baby is completely vulnerable and completely dependent on every person around it, which immediately raises the question of how any of them survived at all. The answer is that ancient humans never tried to do it alone. In hunter-gatherer societies, child care was never the responsibility of 1 or 2 people. It was distributed across the entire social group. The infant was passed between multiple adults throughout the day. Grandmothers, aunts, older siblings, unrelated adults who simply lived nearby. The mother was never the sole point of failure. Anthropologists call this cooperative breeding. And it is not just a nice cultural arrangement. It is a biological strategy that humans evolved specifically because no single adult could carry this alone. Now here is the detail that connects directly to why modern parenting feels the way it does. Human menopause is almost unique in the animal kingdom. Most female mammals can reproduce until they die. Female chimpanzees can reproduce right up to the end of their lives. Humans stop reproducing decades before death. The explanation is called the grandmother hypothesis. Older women stopped reproducing so they could redirect every ounce of their energy toward helping their daughters survive and their grandchildren thrive. The data is striking. Studies of historical populations and modern hunter-gatherer groups show that the presence of a maternal grandmother is one of the single strongest predictors of whether a child survives past age 2. Grandmothers were not just helpful. Evolution may have shaped humans to expect them. Your grandmother's existence is not an accident of aging. It is an ancient survival strategy that kept your entire bloodline alive. And then there is this. When ancient children were ready for solid food, there were no blended pouches. There were no specially formulated cereals. The standard method used across ancient cultures worldwide was pre-mastication, Adults chewed food into a soft paste and transferred it directly into the infant's mouth. To a modern world obsessed with sanitization, it sounds unthinkable. But biology tells a different story. The process likely transferred microbes from adult caregivers that may have helped establish the infant's developing microbiome at a critical window of early life. Introducing microbial diversity that sterile modern feeding environments sometimes cannot replicate. The thing that sounds most alarming about ancient parenting may have been doing something quietly important that we have only recently begun to understand. Here is what changed. And this is the part of the video that is about you, not about ancient humans. The nuclear family replaced the village. The separate nursery replaced the ancestral norm of sleeping in physical contact with multiple people. The baby monitor replaced constant human contact distributed across a dozen adults who all knew your name before you were born. Ancient parents were exhausted too. Ancient babies cried and would not sleep and refused to feed and got sick at the worst possible times. But ancient parents had 30 people around them, sharing the weight of it. Modern parents have the internet telling them they are probably doing it wrong. The mother was never the sole point of failure. Modern parenting made her one anyway, and then expected her to be grateful for the bouncer. The exhaustion is not a sign that you are failing. It is the completely predictable result of doing a collective task with an individual workforce. Your biology expects a village. Your social architecture gave you a 2-bedroom apartment and a waiting list for childcare. That is not a personal weakness. It is the gap between what humans evolved to do and what modern life actually provides. Ancient humans did not keep children alive through superior technique or better instincts. They kept them alive by refusing to let any one person carry the whole weight alone. Modern life tells you that if you just buy the right monitor or read the right book, the weight will get lighter. But the truth is you were never meant to carry it alone. Somewhere in your brain is an expectation written there, long before cities or schools or supermarkets existed, that when your baby cries, someone else will hear it too. You do not need to be a perfect parent. You just need your village. If this gave you some perspective today, subscribe. We explore the hidden architecture of human behavior every week, and we would love to have you in our village.